Testing 1, 2. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Hey there.
Recording in progress.
18. We just got to get a little bit of yardage. That's all we want for our field.
Somebody's got to mute, so yeah, so we don't get that feedback. I know y'all watching that football game, so got to mute a little bit there.
Is there a game on now?
Don't get Dexter started.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Don't get Dexter started, man. Look at his eyes flitting around. You know what he's doing. All right, so somebody's got to turn your speaker down. Something too loud.
Super Bowl 56 here in this stadium. The first time a team has hosted a championship game in the stadium.
Uh-oh, did the 49ers lose? Uh-oh. Doggone it.
Welcome, everybody. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, barely though.
We're going to wait a few minutes to see whatever way this game goes, because we're not going to be able to hear if everybody got their TV on.
Danny, what game is on? Are the Warriors playing?
49er game. The California game.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
We usually give 5 to 10 minutes for the latecomers anyway, so we'll start at 6:40.
One, two.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Bang, bang. Bang, bang, Niners.
What?
Not sure who's got their speaker up really loud or something, so it's vibrating or feeding back. So can you turn that down some?
Okay. Mark, let me go here and see. We got 30 participants.
Does somebody have two devices active?
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Whoever's the host can put everybody on mute and just let the one person talk.
It's me.
Hey, Mark,
Yep.
I think we're ready to go. I see a lot of familiar faces. I just want to personally thank everybody for this unusual season. Thank you for coming out and all the games you have done for each day. It's well recognized. Mark, do we have our first person? I'm gonna let you go on and introduce.
Yeah, he's here. So again, I want to thank everybody. So, all right, can you hear me now? Good.
Yes.
Yep.
Good. I'm going to mute everybody else and I'll open up. All right. So again, thank you everyone for being here. And again, like Danny just said, I want to reiterate how important it has been for each and every one of you to be a part of this abbreviated season and the truncated season. Hopefully a season we can get through and finish and have a playoff and a state championship maybe this year. So where there won't be 2-3 years of asterisk when someone looks back 20, 30 years from now and say, why aren't there any state champions for the 19, 20, 2021? We want to have that this year. So again, we just want to, again, appreciate you all for this. This meeting, as we always do with our playoff meetings, we invite persons to come in and speak with us. Some of our fellow officials will be joining us who are people with state championship pedigree, as well as others who moved on to the college ranks. But we also always ask, used to be Harry Schroth when he was with North Coast Section, and Harry has moved up now doing, I believe, CIF duties. So East Bay has always had a presence, it seems, with playoffs. Dave Kiesel for a long time was involved with the playoffs and state games. Michael Salem used to be at the table for many, many years doing the book. So East Bay has always had a presence with that. And so what I did, because Harry has moved up, Mike Aronian is his successor, and he and I have had a few opportunities to talk. He's an old East Bay guy back in the 80s. He and Mike still are in touch quite frequently as well. And so with that, I wanted to invite him to speak to us as well, to talk about things that are to be expected for the North Coast championships that are coming up. It'll be probably in the next 5 to 7 weeks or so. So I did want to ask Mike to join us. So Mike, I'm going to unmute you, and let's see if we can unmute you. Unmute yourself. I guess you may have to do that for yourself. And then we'll give you the floor.
Thank you, Mark. It's a pleasure to work with all you gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for all of your service. I know it's difficult. You walk into a place and people are looking at you, expecting you to do certain things that you haven't done in the past. One of them happens to be possibly wear a mask, and you're looking at them and saying, wait a minute, I don't get any breaks. There are no substitutes for us. We're on there every play. So thanks for all of your studying. Thanks for all of your time, all of your games that you've gone to and arrived and had them. You found out at that point, once you arrived there in the parking lot or in the gym, that the game has been canceled. All the family things that you've broken and then been called, unfortunately, by your assigner, your esteemed assigner, I might add, and had to say, listen, thanks that you were going to go, but now you're not. So there goes your day, or, or your week, or whatever it happens to be, your weekend. But thank you for your service and leadership. I know that some of the people that we deal with are a little bit, sometimes they're not as compassionate as we would hope they would be, and as empathetic, because you break your necks to get there. And then, then somebody didn't think that you should have called a foul, or you should have called basket interference, and that's nonsense. They need to be happy that you're there. That's my personal opinion. I am going to talk, I was asked to talk about how do I prepare, or how do we prepare, or how should we prepare for big games or playoff games. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to try to fool anybody. I'm not a basketball guy. My basketball extent was I assigned East Bay basketball for 1 year. That was because of my good friend, Michael Salem, who twisted my arm, almost broke it. But still, at the time, we had an up-and-comer basketball official, and she was exceptional. One of the reasons that she was exceptional, in addition to being a great student of the game and ambassador of the game, is that she never turned down an assignment. And I'm sure that you will be held in high esteem if you can do half that well. Never turn down assignments. Assigners love you. So a couple things in terms of, like I said, my basketball extent is Sunday. It was Sunday nights 1 year with Fred McDonald at Mount Diablo High School. And there was a combination of tackle basketball and recreation basketball. And you guys know how that works. So let me tell you what I was going to say. It's like I said, I'm not a basketball guy, so I'm not going to try to be a basketball guy, but I would like to tell you a couple of things of how I would consider going about preparing. One is, and this may be a little bit different for some of you, and one thing is that since it's difficult to arrive to a game now and have a private place to have your pregame meeting, consider having a meeting on the phone, whether it be Zoom or on the phone, before you get there, whether it's the day of, whether it's the night before. And I would say, think of and this is a tough thing, that this is a little bit from football, but some people, they take a pregame conference and they start from the beginning of the game and they go to the end of the game. I might suggest to all of you that when you're doing a pregame, that you think in the other order. The most important thing in a football game is the goal line. So I would, if I only had 5 minutes for a pregame, I'd start at the goal line coverage. So I'm not exactly sure what a basketball game, the most important thing in a basketball game is probably the end. So you might want to talk about how you're going to work mechanically the end of the game. That's just an idea. The other part to work on in a pregame could be something around the basket. Whereas sometimes we end up starting a pregame with the procedural things. Think about where the money is. Think about the money line. Think about the money shot. Just a thought, just suggestion. But most importantly, consider having your pregame before you get there, because you don't know what you're going to encounter once you get there. Just an idea. Second thing is, as you move into, or I should say, as you move beyond the leagues that you normally serve, think about two things. One is that you may be having teams that you've never had before. You may be working with people you haven't worked with before. You're going to work 3-person mechanics a lot of times, not every round, but a lot of times. So in terms of the people that you work with, it's important to know your crew. A lot of times the playoff officials are the number ones in a game, and the ones don't work together a lot. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. That's part one. Part two is with 3-people mechanics. Some people think, as I work lacrosse, and when I go from a 2-person system to a 3-person system, a lot of people think, oh, it's going to be a lot easier with 3 people. Well, sometimes it's just the opposite. It's a lot harder because you have a lot of cross coverage, and you're careful as to, oh, is that his? Is that mine? Is that hers? Is that mine? So to talk through those mechanical overlaps and how you're going to handle it. And of course, the most important thing is eye contact. Eye contact is extremely important. And if you haven't worked with a person very much, you will not know what that is. So you got to know each other's pluses and minuses, and everybody's got holes in their game. Me too. Last part about the preparation for the unknown. And this goes for anyone that's an official, whether you're working a playoff game or whether you're not. If you're going to a site that you have not been to before, you need to know where it is as far as the gym, how you get in, where to park, where not to park. Could be just as important. The other thing is, if you know the traffic patterns, great. If you don't know the traffic patterns, this I-80 corridor is brutal. If you've gone to a school that you've not been to before, or a facility you've not been to before, there's an old term called a prom run. I don't know how many people know what that is, but what I know a prom run to be is that the night before the junior prom, you get in your car and you drive the course of, where you're going to go from. You're going to pick her up or him up or whatever the case happens to be. And then you got to know where you're going to go, where you're going to turn off, so you don't look like a ding-a-ling when you're with your date. So if you go with a prom run, you don't have to do this because we've got navigators and all that stuff on our phone. But if you have you do some research on your travel and have an exit plan, have a way to, have an alternative route. The other thing about teams that you've not had before, there is nothing wrong with having a scouting report. It's important to know who the key players are, who the fast players are. You don't want to get beat. You want to know who the speed guys are. You want to know who the good ball handlers are. You guys know, as far as guys and ladies know, as far as what you need to know about a basketball team. You need to know who has a short fuse. You need to know how to deal with a coach. And there's nothing wrong with you calling your colleagues in another area and saying, hey, I'm working this game. I've got these guys. Give me a couple of tips on how we're going to make this a successful game. Not about who fouls and, and those kinds of things, what their patterns are. You might ask about their offense or their defense, but any scouting that you do, you get it, share it with your crew, so you guys make a good game, number one, and then you have better coverage, number two. Those are my points for preparing for a successful postseason game. The other thing is make sure you turn in your Form Cs, please. We only have 9 to go.
Say that again, Mike, please, to them. Say it again.
Yes, Miss Marcella. We have Form Cs that are due tomorrow. We have 9 people to go. I'm not gonna call them out That's up to Marcella. She probably won't want to call you out either, but that's.
Oh, yes, I will.
I know you. I could give you the initials, but there are only 9 to go. And for the amount of people that you have nominated, that's a good number because we're still under the 24-hour mark, I think. I'm looking at my clock. There we go. Yeah, you still have time. Any simple questions, any general questions? Like I said, I'm not a basketball guy. I'm not going to pretend to be.
Good. All right. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. All right. Let me make sure we've got everybody in the room. Nobody's waiting in the lobby. That's good there. All right. Okay, good, good, good. All right.
Let me cut you off 1 minute, Mark.
Go ahead,
I
Dan.
forgot to say this to everyone. This information is so important. You might want to grab you a pencil and paper and jot some of this stuff down so you can refer back to it. You can't remember everything. Thank you, Mark. Go ahead.
No problem. No problem. So I'm just going to take a couple minutes for those of you who were on the call last Sunday for our last general meeting. We talked about COVID protocols. They're still important to follow. We are still dealing with a health issue in California that we need to protect everybody, students, athletes, coaches, and us as well. We are asking you all to enforce the wearing of the masks while the players are on the bench as well as on the floor playing. Since we have to wear masks, it makes only good sense that everybody protects everybody out on that court. We are certainly not asking you to continue to be the police of that, but we're asking coaches and administrators as well to assist with that. So again, knowing who the site administrator is helps, so that way you can let them know, coach or administrator, we're asking them to wear their mask over their nose during this game to keep everybody safe. Get that help early on, but make sure that you are enforcing that as well. There may be some schools, once we start getting into the playoffs, that might have a different perspective of that. We'll address that down the road when we get into those playoffs. You might be in an area where they aren't requiring them to wear that. And so again, knowing that in advance, we will try to get that information to you. But if you're a crew chief, you might want to call the school. You might want to call ahead when you've been assigned, so you can ask that question. What is your school's protocols with regards to masks and COVID, so that you don't get surprised when you get there. My second point real quick is to deal with coaches, benches, and fans early in games. I had hoped that people coming out of the shortened seasons over the last 2 years would be more grateful to be back doing the thing that we all love. But it seems like coaches have gone right back into their bad habits of being disrespectful at times, being unruly at times, and certainly at times being unsportsmanlike. If you want to deal with that early in the game, I certainly suggest that you do. Don't wait till late third quarter, fourth quarter to start now addressing a coach or coaches or bench personnel when they've been doing stuff all game. I watched on the National Federation's website yesterday, there were some streaming games, and I watched a game yesterday between Salesian girls and St. Mary's of Stockton. And throughout the whole game, all I heard was this woman's mouth. You guys are terrible. You don't know what you're doing. That's a foul. Look at the foul count. It's 8-1. Her mouth just permeated. And I watched second, third, and fourth quarter. It was like late, 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, when one of the members of the crew finally got the administrator to deal with that. And so I called the crew after the game. We talked on speakerphone, and they said, yep, we should have dealt with that earlier. So again, when we have a packed gym, it's hard to hear one person who's loud and rambunctious. That gym might have had 60 people in it at St. Legion. So everybody could hear what she was saying. So don't ignore those kind of problems. It's that old adage of, if you ignore a small little fire over in the corner long enough, it'll burn your house down. So deal with those things early on. Keep your crew out of trouble if you can. Mike, I see your hand up. Do you have a question or a comment?
I was going to piggyback on what you just said. If you walk up to a coach and privately have a nice conversation with them, tell them what you're seeing, redirect them to get them on board. In other words, tell them to knock it off in a nice way. However you choose to do that, early is better because you want the end of the game to be determined by the players.
Yeah, great point. And that's exactly what happens when you make a technical foul call against a coach who's been chirping all game. You make it now with 2 minutes to go, and everybody leaves that gym one way or another saying, man, those guys, those officials really jobbed us, man. He called that tech on that coach. They won't say a word about the coach been talking mess all game long. So please deal with those things. So, and again, know where your site administrators are located. You should meet those persons early on when you get to this location. And I always made a habit of where will you be during the course of this game so that I don't have to go hunting for them. I know where they're going to be located for the most part. My last point is partner contact is critical. And we're going to hammer this and hammer it. We've done it every year. It's been probably worse this year than we've ever had before. Danny probably will allude to it. Marcelo will likely do it as well. Partner contact is still critical. And, Mike pointed out a couple of things as well about why it's important to have partner contact. Why to know where you're going and make sure you have some communication before that. So don't wait until the last minute to do those kinds of things. Get that done. Communicate with your partner, discuss any things you got in mind or what have you, so that you can have a decent game going into these playoffs. So I see a hand up, ARFK. I'm not sure who that is. Okay, if you want to unmute yourself so we can, if you have a question or comment regarding what we were just discussing.
Hey, how are you doing?
Hey, there you are. Good.
Good. So I have a question regarding to fan. I had a game at Dianza, and I saw the security guard, 3 of those, they trying to officiate and basically do our job. So I asked them to move to the side. They were sitting underneath the rim for the home team, and I asked them to. They are not allowed to sitting underneath the rim. They have to move aside. They said, "Oh, we are security, blah blah blah," and with their friend, and they try to officiate the game. So how can I handle this situation now?
So again, that's a good point. It's always, for me, it's always a safety issue. There are games you may have camera personnel who want to take photos or video. It's always a safety issue. So for the safety of the players and myself, I need you to move to the side. So just because there's security personnel doesn't mean they get to sit there and certainly not get to officiate. So, and if you have any pushback there, again, go find your site administrator, have that site administrator deal with them as well.
All right, cool.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Hey, Mark.
Yep.
This is Gary. That's my partner. We were on that game together. And what the problem ended up being was the head of security. I had him, we stopped the game, second quarter, the head of security, I had him go to the two persons that was causing the problem and ask them, could they escort him out and leave? They took him over there by the door to the exit. And, I thought they went out, started the game, turned around, they started back. I stopped it again and had them removed, but they were friends with the head security guy.
Sure.
And then part of his security staff was under the backboard on the home team side sitting. They were riding, my partner and then what's the name, and I told him what he had to move. He said, well, 2 of the guys would move him, but that's my crew. I say, they cannot be harassing us as officials. Their job is security, not sit there and harass them about the calls and complaining, saying it's all this and that.
Right.
But it was just like I said, it's just need to be the head security and the minister we needed to speak to. Because like I say, I called for the head security.
Good.
We never asked you to call for head security. We asked you to go to game. I asked for the administrator and he came over.
Good.
Game
Yep, the
over.
administrator, that's their responsibility. The administrator's responsibility is to deal with everybody in that arena, in
Yep.
that gymnasium. So thank you, Gary.
All right.
All right, Mike, you had one more comment you wanted to make? I saw your hand still up. All right, I'll lower your hand. Okay. All right. So again, please connect with your partners. Talk about, where you're going to meet up when it gets to playoff time. Communicate any concerns you might have, any thoughts you have. Again, you can do a good pregame on that phone for 15 minutes before you get to the gym on Tuesday. So don't waste that time. Make that time more valuable as well. So are there any questions of me? If not, I'm going to pass the ball over to Miss Marcella Dobbs. I don't see any hands up. Okay. Marcella?
Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so I just have, I got quite a bit of nice long list here. So first of all, I want to tell you how I assign with playoffs. I'm pretty sure everybody knows that I do not wait until the last minute to get my league playoffs or to get the NCS playoffs. So what I do is I'll probably take year before last, because we didn't have playoffs last year. And I go in and I key in the ball games, and I go to Max Preps, whatever, look at the standings and determine, let's say next week is the TCL playoffs. So 1 and 2 have a bye, and then 3 plays 6, and 4 plays 5. And so I just determine, looking at the standings, who the teams will play. Now, it may change and it may not. So when I send the assignments out to you, you may say, okay, I'm at Albany on February 8th. But once I get the final playoff schedules from the TCS, Albany may not be the first place team. Pinole Valley may be, and I'll do the change in that. So I need for you every day to at least go into your emails and check any messages from me, any changes. It's easy for me just to go in and change the site and the name of the teams instead of me going and key in all these ball games. For North Coast, the number of games I have, it'll say North Coast 1 up to North Coast 28, 38, whatever. And then once Mike sends me the information, then I go in and I key it in. So I may have, 20 games and 20 crews out there. Then again, Mike may only send me 15 or 16. So you may or may not get a game. Also based on the second round, if we assume that St. Mary's is going to win, and then the lowest seed beats them, and it's someplace up north where we don't service, Mike may give that game to the signer up there. So I may lose the game. So there's no guarantees. Like when I send the email out to you and say, congratulations, there's no guarantees that you may or may not have a game. I do try to give everybody a ball game, but everything's based on standings, okay? Based on your availability. That's why I asked you what days you're not available, based on if you have any conflict of interest, family members working at the different schools, whatever, especially for the OAL and the league playoffs. I may think that St. Mary's plays Piedmont Valley, and all of a sudden Kenny gets in there, and I have Danny Walker in there, and Danny Walker has a daughter going to Kennedy. Well, I got to pull Danny off because that's a conflict of interest. So I have to deal with that. I try to switch you if I can, but if I can't, I would have to pull you from the ball game. So that is how I do my playoffs. So hopefully everybody understands that. So if you have any questions for that, you can send me an email or you can call me, but that's how I do it. So I will be sending out the playoff games. Like I said, it won't have any team names in there as of now, but I want to lock in the officials and the games So when I do have the team names, I could just send it out to you, and then you just have to accept the ball games at the new gym site or the times, right? So sometimes St. Mary's boys and girls may both be in there. This year, due to COVID, for the league playoffs, it's usually the finals are at one gym, boys and girls, and for the Stone, and at one gym, boys and girls for the Rock. They're not going to do that this year. This year, the highest seed will host the championship game. So if St. Mary's boys and girls did not get in there, maybe St. Mary's boys in the championship, but Pinole Valley girls will be in the championship. De Anza boys will be in the championship, and Salesian girls will be in the championship. So we have 4 different championship sites. It will not be at 2 different sites. That's probably due to COVID. So you won't have so many fans at the gym. I don't know. As of now, the OAL is having their playoffs at Merritt. I don't know if that's going to change or not, but the first rounds and the semifinals will be at the highest seed, but the championship right now is at Merritt. So I don't know if that's going to change or not. Then we have the back sack as well. And then we have our private schools. This year, Fremont Christian will host, as well as College Prep will host. So I have all that information. Okay, so once I send the ball games out, I'm asking you to accept your ball games within 3 days. Do not wait until the day of to accept your ball game, because I will pull you off. Okay, I'm also still signing league games. So I need for you to, league games, I allow y'all wait until the day of or 2 days before to accept the ball games, or before you get a phone call from me. So these playoff games, because they will say playoff games, I need you to accept within 3 days. If not, hey, like I said, I sent Mike a nice long list of names, and there's also officials like Mark says, have your gear ready. You never know if you be called upon. So I need for you to accept your games right away. Okay. Another thing that is new this year for the NCS is Mike sent me a list of all the athletic directors in every league. So the R, which I will send, once you come to R, I will send you that list of athletic directors, and it's up to you to contact the school to make sure what their COVID protocol is. So like Mark says, some schools don't allow their players to wear masks. The 10 players on the floor don't have to wear masks, but everybody on the sideline and the coaches may have to wear masks. So you have to contact the athletic director, and I will be sending you that list to the R's. So that is your responsibility. Next one is we are going to be in ref pay. So for NCS before, when you usually have your pregame meeting with the site director, they usually pay you right before the game starts. Well, that's not going to happen. So last week I was working with NCS, and we have set up East Bay for ref pay. I will be sending you the instructions out how to do it. I use mine as the tester, and it's very simple. So you need to have your information so you get paid. They will pay you after the NCS is over, so you won't get paid that night of. They'll take care of everything else to see if the mileage needs to be in there based on the information that you send. So you have to set up an account with Arbiter for ref pay. And I will send you all the instructions and how to do it. As far as on my end as the assigner is done. So now it's the officials to set up ref pay. Some officials may already be set up with ref pay, because if you did a NorCal game 2 years ago or 3 or 4 years ago, I believe that's what they started doing, ref pay as well. Paying the officials through ref pay for NorCal games. So if you're already set up, you don't have to worry about it. But if you've never been set up with ref pay, you will. And hopefully next season, East Bay basketball, we will start paying our officials through ref pay versus me writing you a check every season. Any questions on that with the ref pay? Okay. I can't stress it enough. Mike has said it, Mark has said it, you need to have a pregame. You know, if Clarence was here, you know, he would probably say his 7 cuss words and be finished. But you must have a pregame. There's just too much that you need to cover. There's too much. So please, the day before, if you want to have it on the phone, that's fine, because some of these gyms may not have a place for you to change. You may want to come dressed. You might find out where you're going to be located, where you park at. Just have a pregame. You need to have a pregame. A couple things I want to talk about is arrival time. Okay. The 15-20 minutes is not going to work. They want you there 1 hour before the game starts. So when you have your pregame with your partner, you want to talk about that. Okay, our game's at 7 o'clock. We're going to meet there at 6 o'clock. And find your site administrator to let them know that you're there, but you need to be there 1 hour before game time. All right. Warm-ups time. Every team is guaranteed 15 minutes for pregame warm-up. Okay. Teams are not allowed on the floor no more than 90 minutes prior to a single game or the first game of doubleheader. All right. So make sure that they're not on the floor 2 hours before a ball game. Well, I won't be there anyway, but they at least have 15 minutes to warm up for pregame. Halftime, they need at least 3 minutes, to warm up. So you might, if you see 2 teams out there and you realize that, hey, the other team's not there, you might want to find a site director and say, can you please bring the other team out so they can have at least 3 minutes to warm up. Okay. A sportsmanship meeting. Prior to the start of each game, a meeting will be held with the administrator in charge, the coaches, captains of each team, officials, cheerleader advisors, cheerleader captains, and student representatives of the participating team. This meeting will be conducted by the home site administrator and is separate from the meeting between the officials, head coaches, and the captains of the teams. Okay, so there's 2 meetings. So you have one with the site administrator, and then the referee, U.S. referees will meet with the head coaches and the captains. Make sure there's a coaching box out there. Okay, the game ball. The official game ball for the 2022 NCS Basketball Championship is a Spalding TF 1000 Legacy for boys and a Spalding TF 1000 28.5 for the girls. Now, don't let these schools tell you that they don't have a Spalding ball, because unless it has changed, whoever becomes the league championships, they are given a ball. So unless it has changed, but that's the ball that they need to play with is a Spalding TF 1000. So you need to make sure that is the official game ball. No other game ball may be used. Okay. I talked about ref pay getting paid. Yeah, as you know, you need to also make sure you know your rules. They can't have any noisemakers, horns, bells, victory bells, sirens, chimes, power bats, other than the band. And the band and the sports commentator or cannot talk or play doing live play. It has to be dead ball only. So live play, they cannot talk. You know where the cheerleader is supposed to stand. Okay. They can't be underneath the baskets. So they need to be on the sideline. So all of this you need to know. And I think that's basically about it, unless anybody has any questions. I think I covered everything.
Okay.
All right.
I'm surprised we didn't get a question on the captains.
Yeah, I see a hand up. Chauncey looks like he has a hand up.
Yeah, how you guys doing? So I want to ask if they do not have a Spalding ball, what are we to do then? Because I know a lot of schools have been playing with the Wilson balls. So what is recommended we do at that point?
Well, it says here, no other ball may be used. So you may want to go to the visiting team and see if they have a Spalding ball, but that is the official game ball, a Spalding ball. So so the referee, when they contact the prevented referee and officiating, when you contact the athletic director regarding the COVID protocol, you want to make sure to say, hey, coach, make sure you ask them, will you have a Spalding ball there?
Good.
All right.
I don't see any other hands. So thank you, Marcella.
Welcome.
Okay. I'm going to turn it over to Danny now. And he will share some information.
Okay.
No, I'm on a Zoom call. I just don't want to get my phone to go dead. I'll be right there.
Okay, darling. Gotta mute, darling. All right. And Dwayne has a hand up. Was it relative to what Marcella was talking about, Dwayne? I can't hear you. You're muted.
Yeah, with the basketball, they're going to try and tell you guys that they don't have a basketball. They have the basketball. Make them use the basketball. They don't, because they usually every school gets one. It's usually a new basketball. When they don't want to use the basketball, the new one, they want to use a older basketball because it's broken or whatever. If they don't have if they have an older Spalding T1000, whatever, that's okay as long as it's that basketball. But if they don't make them use that basketball, basic period.
Correct. And that's the main reason why they don't want to use it, because it's a brand new basketball and they want to use an old basketball. It's already broken in.
And most of the schools have the Spalding basketballs, and they'll have an older one, and it's okay to use an older one, as long as it's the Spalding T1.
Correct.
Whatever.
Thanks, Dwayne. All right, Danny, back to you, sir.
Okay, I just want to go over a few things before I call on the speakers. Darlene, you need to mute yourself.
Oh my.
Star 6. Can we have some good playoff games coming? But before we get to playoff games, we still have some league games that we need to cover. Some of these games are very competitive. Please put what happens in a fight in your pregame, because it will catch you off guard. A lot of you have done a lot of games, boys, girls. It's easy to just go through the motion, and then when something happens, you need to talk about, if you're in a 2-person, who's going to get the players coming off the bench? If you're in a 3-person, who's going to get the players coming off the bench? Because it happens so fast, if you don't prepare yourself, you're not going to know what to do. Everybody needs to get in the practice of, when you get to the gym, find out who's in charge. These are things that you need to put in your repertoire, because we just go into games, we do games, we leave, we go into games, we do games, you leave, and then something happens. When you make partner contact, you can do your pregame. You can talk about your pregame and when you do your partner contact, especially if you know you're running late. Traffic is horrible. Everybody knows that in the Bay Area, traffic is horrible. So try to help yourself. But I have some speakers. I'm also going to call on some people that I said I was going to call, but I didn't call because some of my speakers are not here. But the first speaker is going to be Miss Darlene Hargrove. Darlene?
Yeah, you're funny. Hi, everybody. I'm Darlene Hargrove. I've been with East Bay for 20 years. I've done several state games. So I can tell you that preparation is the key to success. Making sure that your bag is packed, checking your bag, making sure you double check, make sure when you get to your car, you check to make sure again that it's in your car. Making sure you're checking your GPS to make sure that you're gonna get there in time, and add another 30 minutes just in case something happens. I always check I try to check my GPS for my games in the morning, because that's before traffic, and then I try to check it in the afternoon when I'm about to leave, and then add another 30 minutes just to make sure I'm on time. They're asking us to be there an hour early, so try to be there an hour and a half early just to be in the vicinity so you don't have to worry about traffic. When you get to the site, like they said, make sure you know who the site administrator is. Make sure if they have changing places for us, change there. If not, just make sure you have like all your undergarments on, so you don't have to really have to change into everything that all your entire uniform, but you're pretty much almost prepared to go onto the floor. What else I wanted to say? What else did you want me to talk about, Danny?
You've done very well, my dear. I got
okay. One more thing I want to say.
Okay.
Please, it's important for me just doing games this season. It's very, very important that you know the rules. Please do not make up rules that could get you in trouble later. If you're uncertain, it's fine. But if you got a veteran on the crew, make sure you go to them, because if we make up rules, it just can mess up your game. Also, let's make sure we communicate with your partners when they were talking about eye contact. That's so important, especially during dead balls, making sure we know the clock is right, making sure that we know about the shot clock, we know our table, because what I've experienced lately is we got young tables. Make sure we got the table is doing what they're supposed to do. And don't be scared to tell them that they're not doing right, and if you got to remove them, remove them. But just stay engaged with your game and use communication as much as you can. I'm done, Danny.
Thank you very much, my dear.
Danny, can you hear me?
Yes.
Darlene, you and I talked a couple of days ago about something I wanted you to share real quick for 2 minutes about the held ball for girls games.
Okay, so I had a conversation with Mark, and what I want everyone to realize is that you have to realize when you have girl games, you don't know what girls women and girls and women, we're emotional, so you don't know what you're coming into. So when you get a girls game, when you have a held ball, it's important that you close in on it and you get on it right away. Boys are a little different because they snatch it away, they're gone. Girls, they get emotional, then you don't know what may happen after that. You touched me, you did this, and you don't want to have that in your game. So jump on it, run in there, get the jump ball, stay with it, keep your eyes on them, because if you turn around, they might do something that you might have to be like, oh my God, what happened? Get on the jump ball, take care of it immediately.
Thanks, Darlene. Thanks, Danny.
You're welcome. This person wants to speak about playoffs, and he has some words about his organization, and that's Mr. Dwayne Ely.
About my organization?
Yeah, EBBOA.
Oh, my organization, EBOA. I'm a
Where you originated from?
I'm a long time East Bay basketball official. I'm Dwayne Ely, everybody. First of all, congratulations to everybody who made the playoffs and the playoff list. I hope everybody gets a game. It's a wonderful experience to work a high school playoff game. There's a lot of big crowds. I don't know if there's going to still be big crowds with COVID, but the atmosphere is high intense. Before I talk about playoff stuff, I just want to say one thing. Officials, get in your rule books. I've been getting emails of plays, of incidents, phone calls about officials making up rules, not game aware. I got videos of things that should have been taken care of and led to other things later on in the games. And everybody I work with at the college level, they come to me about things about East Bay because they know that's where I came from. And I've been doing this journey with the East Bay as a high school official for a long time. So they come to me, they like, what's going on with East Bay? Ooh, East Bay used to be the cream of the crop. I don't know if they that. Hey, people, go to camps. It's big, it's important. You gotta go to camps. I know it hasn't been camps in a couple of years or whatever. We gotta get back into doing camps. The level of participation, the level of officiating is dropping very fast in East Bay. It's dropping. The people who are doing the training, go to camps. Because these people need to be trained correctly. Stuff I'm seeing on videos is just, I'm gonna say the Clarence is probably flipping over in his grave right now. Because it's just, it ain't what it used to be. And we used to be the best group in Northern California, no doubt, probably the whole state of California. People everywhere want to come to East Bay. And that's what I'm gonna say about that. Just get in the books, learn the rules, know what you're doing on the floor. And I don't want no more video and phone calls. And people talking to me about what people not doing. I want to hear good things about East Bay officials. So back to the playoffs. When I was coming up and we didn't want to travel to playoff games, we got to the game, hour and a half, 2 hours. We got in the area 2 hours before the game. That's not, everybody can't do that because of jobs and all that. But we're in the area 2 hours, 2.5 hours before the game. We go sit down, have a lunch. Our pregame starts on the ride to the game. It doesn't start in the locker room. You can't have that. That's not enough time for a playoff. We're having lunch. We're having pre-games before and after, and the games go smooth. I've been blessed enough to work many playoff games, many state championships through East Bay, and I stay, excuse me, with me and my crews did, and I picked this up from guys that were ahead of me and gave me this knowledge. What we did before the games, the pregame before the games, made our games go smooth. You guys got to pick this type of stuff. And I know with COVID, we can't ride together or whatever. I don't know if that's the code, the protocol of high school for playoff. You can't ride together. Everybody ride in the vehicle car, get their separate. We used to ride together, eat lunch, go to the game. Be there hour and a half. We there before the team. We don't want the teams to see us. We go in before the teams. Might be some long lines out of people in line trying to get in the arenas. Those type of things. You got to be prepared to work the games. So I'm going to talk about as part of the playoff. Be professional all times. All the times. You wearing stripes, the target's already on your back. You're already a bad guy. You're going to make one team happy, one team unhappy on every call. Stay professional all the times. You got, like you talk right, you get irate fans, use your site administrators. Hey, you in the pregame meeting, you'll find out who the site administrators and principals at each school, and they're gonna let you know where they'll be sitting at, and they're gonna tell you if you have any problems with my stands or whatever, let me know. So choose them because they want you to let them know. They don't want no issues. They don't want no bad names on their schools. So principals, site administrators for those schools, go straight to them and say, hey, you got a fan over here doing A, B, C, or D. Get them that information. Make your game go smooth. Dress code. I think because of COVID, the dressing is a lot different now. So I don't know about putting people in rooms on, like I say, this, you guys have to call the schools. Like Danny and Mark said, you have to call the schools and call the athletic directors, principals at the schools or whatever. Call those people, contact them. If you're working a game and you got two different genders, let them know you need 2 locker rooms. Let them know you got a woman on the crew. We got 2 women, 1 man, or whatever, whoever the crew chief is. Crew chiefs. Marcelo's putting you in them positions for a reason. Be a crew chief. You're in charge of your crew. That's your crew. Take pride in your crew. Get everybody on the same page. Make sure everybody is working in unison on the basketball. Only way the game's going to flow, and it doesn't have issues because you're calling this, I'm calling that, and people get in the course and trying to be like, why ain't the crew chief? I got an attitude. Hey, you ain't the crew chief? Let's work the game. Everybody can be a crew chief, but just work the game together. Respect who is the crew chief. And I have one thing for Mark and Danny. Somebody needs to check Skyline's their travel uniforms. They may be illegal.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Know if uniforms are legal or not legal. Know the rule. That's part about knowing the rules, everybody. Teams may have been playing all year, and the uniforms could be wrong. Know what a legal uniform is, not illegal. Legal uniform is. People don't want to get penalized in the playoffs, and it's an issue. Going to be an issue with you because you're going to hear it. I've been playing these uniforms all year, and now you get an issue because nobody said nothing to them about the uniforms. Crew chiefs, when you're at the game and you're checking the book, take the book off the table, take it to the coaches, and tell them to check it and make sure the numbers are there correct and the names are there correct, and tell them to sign it. That takes issues off of you because you get an opportunity to look at it and sign it. Because the traveling school or whatever may not be the team. They may not be putting their name and number in the book. It may be whoever's doing the book for the home team. They'll be writing it in the book. Make sure it's right. Because if it ain't right, now you got a problem. You know what? They're gonna say, well, I didn't put it in here. But you know what? I gave you the opportunity to look at it. And you looked at it, you said it was right, you signed it. So I'm thinking of some other things that can help you guys out in the playoffs. If Marcella's doing your book at the OEL finals, she's gonna tell you to write, go tell the coach to sign it, even though she didn't already gave it to him. But you'll be all right. But anywhere else, hey, give him to sign the book.
Dwayne, can I say something to that as well?
Yes.
Also, as the officials, you must also sign the book as well. Up top, there's a place. Like I say, if I'm doing the book, I will write the names in. But when you go to another school, please put your name in there. And please don't be Michael Salem and sign it. What did he sign it at? Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles. No. Okay. Put your name in there and make it legible. That is a requirement for the officials that you have to record your name in the scorebook. Go ahead, Dwayne.
Any questions from anybody? I got, if you have any questions about any playoff stuff, I can probably help you out or help you get through stuff. I've been blessed to be the blessing to have been working playoffs through East Bay and learned everything that I learned through East Bay. So
For the sake of the time, Mr. Ely, I'm gonna say if anybody wants to call you, you take the time out to give them your knowledge.
That's call me whatever. I'm open. Especially for the next 2 weeks, I don't gotta go to work.
We thank you very much for your knowledge, participation. Did I lose Mr. Austin? Greg, are you still with us, or did maybe he'll come back? He told me he might have some things to do. With that, the next person is going to be, this young lady got married, so I'm not going to use her last name, but I'm going to use her first name because I don't know her new last name. Danielle.
You're trying to be funny, I see.
I'm not being funny.
Hello, everybody. I'm Danielle Milburn / Edwards. That's my married name. I'm actually in the middle of dinner, but I wanted to make sure I got on the meeting. I've been listening in. It's been a lot of good things said by everybody, so it's not a whole bunch that I have left to say. Congratulations to everyone who has been accepted. You know, you may get games, you may not. Sorry, I got into this hallway. I'm trying to get out of the noise. For games, if you do appreciate those moments, don't switch things up that much, because there's a reason that you got selected. But things that you're uncomfortable with, things that you don't know much about, find a way to learn more about it. Reaching out to people like Dwayne, Darlene, getting in your book, going to watch other games, watching other people ref, and just being really prepared. I think Darlene talked about it a little while ago, and I'm just going to second that. I'll give you a story that Darlene and them know about. It's a little funny. But I think a few years ago, I used to remember, who was that? I think either Clarence or Danny used to talk about it, and he would say, they said, make sure that you pack your own stuff up. You don't have your wife packing your stuff up or your husband packing your stuff up, making sure that everything that you're going to need for that game is prepared and in there. And I always kept that in mind. And one day I had a game and I was working in San Francisco. Everything was all packed up the night before. I had it at the door, and I didn't grab my bag. And I didn't know that I didn't have my bag until I got to my game. And it was a really ugly day. I think I was working with, was I working with, Darlene? I think I was working with, I was working with Ashlyn, if you guys know Ashlyn, and Yolanda Garrett. And it was a rainy day. We were all running late because of, we weren't late. We were actually on time for the game. We were running later than the time that we usually are set to get to the game because of the rain and the traffic. We were going up to Monterey Peninsula College. And I didn't realize that I didn't have a bag until I get to the gym. And I'm just gonna say that was a funny game because I had to, if anybody knows me, I'm about half of both of the other ladies' size. And I had to wear their items, their uniforms. So another thing to say about that is every time I pack my things now, I've always packed 2 or 3 pair of pants, 2 or 3 shirts, extra socks, extra whistles, because you never know if your partner is going to be prepared or not. But you want to make sure that you're prepared and that your partners are prepared for the ball game. Me and Darlene was also talking the other day about the differences between girls' games and boys' games, and Darlene touched on it a little bit, so I'm just going to piggyback on it. In certain situations, we've watched a couple of games where girls get into scruffles, get into jump ball situations, or they're diving for the ball, or fouls for girls aren't always the same type of fouls for boys. Make sure that you are present. Make sure that you are present on those plays, even more than usual, because when playoffs come, the atmosphere is really high. There's a lot more fans usually in the gym. There's a lot more riding on it. Some of these players, this is their last game of the season. This is the last game of their lives. They're never going to play again, some of them. And so it means a lot more. Their energy is flowing. So just try to be more present. Some whistles are going to be a lot faster than they usually are. Some whistles are going to happen on purpose, that you might not usually call, just to keep, our main job is to manage the game, right? So but be there. I've heard a lot from everybody that was on there. I was one of the last people to speak, so a lot of the stuff I'm not going to beat it over the head, but those are the things that I would say specifically. Get with some of the OGs, Dwayne, Danny, Darlene, and just kind of figure out what they've been doing over the years, because they've been around. They've been going to playoffs for so long. I think Darlene and Dwayne are probably neck and neck for the most games, the most playoffs all together. So they have a little bit of experience under their belt. Don't be afraid to call them. Darlene be acting funny sometimes, but Dwayne he'll get to you. That's all I got.
Thank you very much, my dear. You did a beautiful job, which I knew you was going to do. All of you have done. This next person, he doesn't know that he's going to be called, but he has more experience than everybody that I know, and that's Mr. Mike Williams.
I think we lost Mike.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to go to Mr. Fernando Russell.
All right, sorry about that. I had to unmute myself. I don't have a whole lot more to add on to what was already been said. A lot of the information is good. You should be taking it all in. The only thing that wasn't brought up that I want to bring up, it may have been brought up in little pieces, but game awareness in playoffs is huge. How players interact with each other during certain plays is our responsibility. I'm always of the belief that if a fight's going to start in your game because two teams don't like each other, it's going to happen early. Fights that usually happen later on in the game is because of frustration. They're not making their shots. The opponent is beating them up and down the court, making shots on them, whatever the case may be. A lot of that stuff can be resolved before it escalates as we watch players interact when they're on the court after a made basket, or how they deal with each other during breaks. If we can find those troublemakers before it escalates, we can get to the coaches to tell them, hey, I need you to give White 15 a break. Or you talk to them and say, hey, come on now, we got a good ball game. I need you to stay focused. Your team needs you. You need to work with these players to keep their head in the game, because a lot of times, like Darlene said, it's an emotional game. Tensions are high. Everybody's trying to win. It's a win or go home situation. And whoever makes the most plays, makes the least mistakes, move on. And the other thing that I want to talk about, we talk about knowing the rules. And I think there's two facets of knowing the rule. A lot of us can know the rules simply because we're not under pressure. We're not under duress. We can quote a rule quite easily. But when you're in a game and you've been huffing and puffing and everybody's screaming and everybody's shouting and your heart is beating 1,000 miles per minute, that's when you really need to hone in on knowing the rules. It's okay to know the rules when you're sitting down drinking a beer or whatever, but when you're running up and down the court, you're tired and you make that split-second call, or your partner makes that split-second call, and then we got other action going on, is what you do at that point actually shows whether or not you really know the rules. So knowing the rules under duress is a lot different than knowing them when you're not under pressure. Get into the rule book and know the rules for yourself. Don't say, Danny told me this is what the rule says. You need to know what the rule says for yourself. Read the book for yourself so that you have the knowledge, not asking everybody else what the rule is, because you're going to get different interpretations. Read it for yourself. Know it for yourself. So that way you're not saying, well, Darlene said this, and then Dan said, Dwayne said that, or Fernando said this. Learn it for yourself. It's in the rule book. If you say the rule book says this, you are on a good footing to go from that point on. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you, Fernando. Very helpful. This is the person that have done state games on the girls and the boys side, more than one, Mr. Mason. Mr. Mason, you're not at your computer?
Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry, I was muted.
All right, all right.
I just want to clarify, I've done boys. I haven't done girls yet. Maybe that's coming down the road, but right now I've only done boys finals in the state. My thing is, if these are high school basketball games, we should use high school rules and high school mechanics. I've been in situations where I've been with crews where they were college officials and they let me know that we're going to do this the college way. I'm like, wait, I don't know anything about college. I know high school. So it was a little tough for me, but I learned a lesson. I shared it with Clarence, Marcella, everybody. So I always want people to understand. And maybe you guys, Mark, Danny, you guys let me know if these are still high school basketball games. Are we supposed to use high school rules and high school mechanics? Okay. So that's one thing you need to get on the same page with your crew. Because we could have some East Bay officials that do college. And then when you do your pregame, they'll say, okay, we're going to do this. And I'm like, oh, that's not a high school mechanic. And people know when they work with me, I'm bringing that up. Because if something comes up, I'll show you in the book what it says about doing high school. Referee the best that you can. Don't try to be anybody else. Once you get to the big game, you got there for a reason. Be yourself. Be confident. Be professional. Try to have fun. Enjoy it. It's an honor to do postseason. You want to get to the games early. I would always get to my games so early, nobody was there. So I went in and made sure my coaching boxes were marked, my X, and they would look at, wait, when did this get here? I'd already been in there. I rode to one game with Dwayne Ely. He said, I drive all week long, Brandon. You're going to drive. I said, oh, well, if I'm going to drive, we're going to get there 2.5 hours early before the game. He said, what? I said, yeah. So me and Dwayne got into the car and we got there real early. Real early. So we were the first ones in the gym. Everything was marked. Everything was ready. So after the game, we were able to go to Hooters and have something to eat. So make sure you get there on time. One last story about getting on time. I had a game over in Marin, and I'm afraid of traffic. So I made sure my job, I had made plans so I could leave early. 101 was shut down. I said, 101 shut down. So I got there real early. And I think one other person was there with me, and one other person was there with the crew that was supposed to be there. So since we were there early, Harry decided to let the officials that were there do the first game, and by the time for the second game, hopefully the other officials would be there. Well, I was all amped up to do the boys' game, but I had to be prepared and ready to do the girls' game. So you want to make sure you're there on time. You want to make sure that you know your rules, you know your mechanics, and it is a high school game. So be prepared, have fun, and just enjoy the adventure. That's what I got to say. I didn't know I was going to speak, so that's what just came out. Was that okay?
Can I piggyback in there a little bit on the mechanics? If you, because some people, there are a decent amount of people who are working next level and literally going from one day working a college game, one day working a boys game, one day working a girls game. If you are very clear about the mechanics, you're only doing high school mechanics. I tell my partners usually, because I only do some of the games so much. If you know for a fact that we're supposed to be switching, don't say, well, this is a high school official or this is a veteran official or something. So I was gonna let them tell me. No, if you know that you're supposed to be making that switch, you make that switch and the other person is gonna fill in the blanks. Right? The college official or whatnot, if you know for a fact, no, Danielle, this is high school mechanics and we're supposed to do that long switch, make that switch and I'm gonna fill in the blank. I just want to add that in there.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you, Brandon. I'm going to talk a little bit about first impressions. And with saying that, I'm going to go to dress code. A long time ago, we asked for you to wear a suit or slacks. Come presentable. Come presentable. That's what I'm going to say, because first impressions, if you come there with a sweatsuit and tennis shoes, that's how they're going to view you. If you're doing my playoff, high level playoff game, Charlie Raines used to say, when he got in trouble, the flight was canceled or whatever. Because of his dress, he was able to get another flight. If you come up there looking like anybody, that's how they're going to entertain you. So represent yourself, and then you will represent East Bay. That's what I'm going to say about the dress code. It was told to me, a lot of us have a lot of different walks in life. You may want to consider taking the day off, depending on the level of your game, in what you have to do. What you have to do to get to be there on time. You may want to take the day off from work that so you can do the best job you can do. I don't know. It was put out there to me. I go to work. I have a lot of days, and I did follow that suggestion, and it did help me because I wasn't wore out when I got to the game. So I don't know if Marcella has something to add, or Mark has something to add, or anybody has some questions, but we'll start with Marcella, then we'll go to Mark, and then Mark, if anybody have any questions, if you don't know how to raise your hand, you just can speak up. Marcella?
I think we have covered everything. I just want everybody just to go out there and, like I say, and have fun and enjoy. I know when I did my state game, nerves are going to be there. I was so excited. I didn't even get relaxed until the last 3 minutes of the ball game, but then I was ready. So just go out there and have fun. Also, this year, especially for the league playoffs, I am going to match some of our upcoming young officials with some veterans, and hopefully the veteran officials, you'll be able to give them some pointers, so eventually in 2 or 3 years, they could be where you were to get a NorCal game or a state game. So that's one thing that's encouragement. I'm just asking everybody to encourage everybody. And we're a team. We're all a team. But the most thing is go out there and just have some fun and enjoy it. I also don't want to piggyback, like I said, when you do call the athletic directors, you could also ask them, will there be a place for us to change? So if they tell you that there's not going to be a place, then when you contact your partners, say, hey, we need to come dress, or yes, there will be a place for us to change. But that's basically, let's go out there and have fun. That's all I got to say, Danny.
Mark?
Thank you, Danny. Again, thank you for putting all this together, coordinating it, making it happen. I think the other thing, and Brandon alluded to it, Dwayne alluded to it, everybody alluded about getting there early and the kind of things that you address when you get there early. I can remember years ago getting to a gym and the chairs were all pretty much next to the table, scorer's table. And so, me and my crew persons, we put the chairs to the 28-foot mark all the way down, toward the end line. Because again, how can you ask a coach not to stand in front of the table if you're allowing the chairs to be right next to the table? So little things like that you deal with before anybody else is in the gym. So those are the kind of things. And then I'm real notorious about checking padding on backboards because it's a safety issue. So any other thing that you walk that gym when you get in there before the teams or anybody else is there, you're walking around that gym to see if there are any other safety issues that need to be addressed before those players play that game. So that's the other thing that I wanted to add, Danny. Again, congratulations to each and every one of you. It's an honor to do playoffs. Your goal should be every season to advance to the next level of playoffs. And that comes with knowing rules, that comes with working, that comes with growing and learning. And, like Quincy Jones said almost 40 years ago when they did We Are the World song, he said, leave your ego at the door. So I still learn from other people. I'm still growing as an official, and I've been doing this 31 years. So be willing and open to learning because we live and die and have success as a crew. Dwayne, you got your hand up?
I just want everybody to know, Brandon took me to Hooters. I didn't take him to Hooters.
Tina must be gone.
I didn't even know about Hooters, so Dwayne's not telling the truth.
Oh, excuse me. Okay, everybody. Myself, Mark, some of the other evaluators, we will be out evaluating. We're not out there, we won't be out there to make you nervous. We're out there to give you pointers and to help you and let you know what you need to do going forward. Don't take it as negatively. We're out there to help. Okay. Also, I want to thank everybody. We have a lot of members on this meeting. Thank you for coming. I hate that we couldn't all meet together. I had a big meal plan for everybody. I worked with Jimmy Friday. He ate enough food for all of y'all put together, but that's okay. That's my buddy.
I got something to say if you allow me to, before the meeting is over.
You can speak right now, sir.
Hello, everybody. I'm looking this way because I have a screen over here. I just want to say real quick about my partner, Craig Richardson. We had a game at San Lorenzo this week, and a situation arose in which a drunk parent came out to me after the game and started talking some mess. And he, I just wanted to say that he stepped up real quick and, had my back at all moments. He even switched the game and stayed with me and made sure that everything was fine. So I just wanted everyone to know that he did that. So thank you, Craig, and please everyone know that he's a very good partner. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm gonna add on to that. That's one of the reasons why we ask you to go in the gym together, leave out of the gym together, because you never know.
Yep, looks like Dwayne has his hand up. You have one more comment, Dwayne?
Go ahead, Dwayne.
You're muted.
I'm available to go out and evaluate too. If you guys need me to go out and look at somebody or give some feedback to somebody that's working.
Thank you.
Extending my hand out. And hey, Craig, good job, baby. East Bay family for life, man. We've always been family.
That's right.
That's what family do. We support and protect each other.
Thanks, Dwayne.
Danny, I need something to say.
Okay, 1 second, Marcelo. Dwayne, you know we're gonna take you up on that. So you'll be getting your assignment, sir. Go ahead, Marcella.
Okay, so I am taking a roll call, and there's some names that I don't quite know. So if you could just send me a text or email if it's you. There's someone that says
I'll have a list.
Anthony's iPad. I think that's Anthony. Then there's someone that came in as a guest, so I have no idea who that is.
Marcella, that's me, Anthony Garman.
Anthony Garman, thank you.
Hello.
Let me write. That's all I need to know. Anthony Garman. Okay, phone number 530-559-2000.
Okay, somebody needs to mute again. Thank you.
Someone has an iPhone. That's all it says. Mac, M-A-C. Phone number 510-978-5191.
Marcella, the 530 number is Nathan Rhodes.
Thank you. Phone number 510-305-7352.
That's Dexter Johnson.
No, I got Dexter's number.
Okay.
And then I have one that says David iPhone. Okay.
Can you hear me, Marcella?
David, are you on twice?
I was on twice. I had the phone and the tablet going, but
okay. All right.
Okay.
So I'll take care. I'll okay.
All righty.
All right.
Okay.
Danny, can I say something real quick? Ask you?
Go right ahead.
Earlier in the presentation, you made a comment about speaking to captains, but you never did finish what you were going to say.
Marcella has her paper, and she said speak to captains, and I thought we wasn't speaking to captains this year, but we'll get together and talk about that, and we'll send out a text on that. We'll send out an email on that to see if they're going to speak to captains in the playoffs or not. I know during the league play, we just spoke to coaches. So
I'm reading off the form that Michael sent me. So I think they're going to speak to captains.
So that's that answer. That's the answer.
Okay. Also, we may want to get, I forgot to mention that if you have an ejection, you need to contact Mike, write your report up and send it to Mike, which I also, when I send you the roster for the athletic directors, I will put Mike's phone number in there as well.
And I just want to share, I'm going to say this, I know it's going on deaf ears. All calls don't have to go to Marcella. Marcella got a lot going on. As soon as these games come on, she got to figure out who's going to go where or whatever. There's other people that can answer some of these coming calls. When you have problem in games, you're supposed to call Mark. You know, you can call me if Mark's not available. but you still need to call Mark back because I'm gonna call Mark. But just so you'll be able to talk to somebody and get the information, because when you call Marcella, she tell you to call Mark. So Marcella does not always have to be your first call. She got a lot going on, and we're trying to relieve her from all of this stuff so we can keep her going, so to speak. Okay? So-
Danny?
Yes.
I got a question. This is Justin Rubovitz.
Okay.
For the playoffs, are there next game consequences for technicals for players or coaches? Like, is there a trickle to the next game? Does that make sense?
Mark, answer that.
So there are always going to be repercussions for ejections, not for a technical. So a kid gets one technical, that's not a problem.
Okay.
But if a player and or coach is ejected, I still need to be notified. We will also then notify Mike with North Coast, or if it's an Oakland game, it's Oakland section. We have to notify them as well, but there will be repercussions. So that's why you got to notify. But just one technical, there's no progressive penalty for that.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
In saying that, Justin, that's why we want to make sure that these things are warranted. Not that we're tired or we
Right, of course.
want to hear it that day, or if somebody go across the line, they deserve the tech. If we could go to the table and say we're giving a warning and put it in the book, let's try to do everything we need to do to try not to penalize people. But if people needs to be penalized, you have to do that too. Okay. All right. Again, any other questions? God bless everybody. I hope you guys took down some notes and put some of this stuff in your repertoire. It takes time to, everybody's trying to get better. That's all we want you to do is get better. And I wish everybody the best of luck in all their playoff games. And I wish everybody could get a state game, but we want East Bay to be represented. So good luck to everybody. And it's a little after 8. I want to make sure that we don't take too much of your time. So God bless you and good night.
Thank you all.
Good luck,
Good night.
everybody. Be safe out there. Take care.
Good night. Good night.
Good
Good
luck.
night.
Have a good one.
Good night.
Good night. Bye.
Good time.
Good night, everyone. Good luck this season.
Good luck. I just want to extend my sympathy to Dexter and all the 49er fans.
I got you on that, man. I sent my
We would have been finished by 8 o'clock if y'all didn't watch that game. Y'all know I'm not a football fan.
I just want to give a sympathy and condolences to the Bang Bang gang. Y'all got shot.
Bang Bang Niner gang.
All right, all. Take care.
All right.
Peace.
Good luck. Be safe.
All right, bye.